Ijeoma sat in the grand lecture hall, her long fingers tapping lazily on her notebook. Sunlight poured through the high windows, casting golden streaks on her smooth brown skin. She had the kind of beauty that made people stare just a little longer than necessary. Her dark, wavy hair cascaded down her back, and her deep brown eyes held a quiet confidence that made her stand out. But it wasn't just her looks that made people gravitate towards her. Ijeoma had style, a way of carrying herself that made everything she wore seem straight out of a fashion magazine. Today, she wore a cream blouse tucked into high-waisted jeans and sleek ankle boots that clicked softly as she walked. Everyone liked Ijeoma. She was kind, smart, and had a heart that always wanted to help others. But Ijeoma had one problem. She did not believe in the things that scared others. Superstitions, myths, legends, they were all nonsense to her. Just stories the old people made up to keep kids from wandering into the dark. Professor Okafor stood at the front of the hall, adjusting his glasses as he spoke. Now listen carefully, class. The trip to the village will be a great learning experience. You will see real African traditions untouched by the city. But remember, some places have rules. Some places you must never visit at certain times. There is a reason why the elders speak of things unseen. Ijeoma rolled her eyes. Professor, with all due respect, these are just myths, right? I mean, come on. In this modern age, you still believe in these old stories? The class chuckled, but the professor didn't laugh. His face was grave. Ijeoma, whether you believe it or not, respect the land you step on. The words hung in the air, but Ijeoma only smiled and shrugged. The bus ride to the village was long, but filled with laughter. The students were all excited about the trip. They were geography students, eager to see the world beyond the city lights. The village they were visiting was known for its strong cultural roots and deep mysterious traditions. Elders whispered about places that should never be entered and times when the earth did not belong to humans. But to Ijeoma, these were just ghost stories. When they finally arrived, the sky was painted with hues of orange and purple. The place they were staying in stood tall, surrounded by thick trees and an eerie silence. It was an old building, said to have once belonged to a great king, a soldier who fought many wars. The villagers believed that at midnight, he and his fallen warriors marched through the land, unseen but heard. As the students gathered in the common area, a village guide spoke in a low, serious voice. At midnight, you must stay in your rooms. If you hear marching outside, do not open the doors. Do not look out of the windows. If you do, you might not see the morning. A hush fell over the group. Some looked uneasy, while others, like Ijeoma, scoffed. Really? Marching ghosts? They expect us to believe that? Ijeoma whispered to her friend Nena, shaking her head. That night, as everyone settled in, a strange wind howled through the trees. The lodge creaked, old wood groaning under unseen weight. The air grew thick, heavy with something unspoken. And then, just past midnight, tap, tap, tap. The slow, rhythmic sound of boots on the ground echoed outside. It grew louder, steadier, like soldiers marching in perfect unity. The walls of the lodge trembled slightly, and the air became even colder. The students lay frozen in their beds, wide-eyed and terrified, except for Ijeoma. Her heart raced, but not from fear, from excitement. A smile played on her lips as she tiptoed to the window. Pressing her ear against the cold glass, she had to see for herself, but she couldn't see anything. And so, she did the one thing she was told not to do. She reached for the door handle and slowly, carefully turned it. Click! A soft gasp behind her made her stop. It was Nnenna, her best friend. "Ijeoma, stop," she whispered, grabbing Ijeoma's wrist. "Please, don't do this. You don't know what's out there." Ijeoma chuckled. "Come on, Nnenna. You don't believe in this nonsense, do you? I just want to see." Before she could finish, the door creaked open slightly, and a gust of cold air rushed in. A deep, unnatural whisper slithered into the room, making Nnenna shudder. She tightened her grip on Ijeoma's wrist, trying to pull her back, but Ijeoma yanked free and stepped outside. Nnenna had no choice. She ran after her, grabbing onto Ijeoma's arm to drag her back in. Then, the marching changed. It was no longer just sound, it was real. Heavy boots skimmed down upon the earth, crushing the silence. But Ijeoma and Nnenna saw nothing, only the sound remained. Then, Nnenna screamed. She stumbled, her foot suddenly pinned under invisible weight. Someone had stepped on her. Hard. She fell to the ground, and before she could move, more crushing footsteps landed on her back. The weight was unbearable, pressing her into the earth as though she were nothing more than a leaf. Her cries of pain sent chills through Ijeoma's spine. "Nnenna!" Ijeoma tried to reach for her, but an invisible force blocked her way. No matter how hard she pushed, she couldn't move forward. It was as if something was keeping her from helping her friend. The stomping did not stop. Nnenna writhed on the ground, gasping, coughing, the air forced from her lungs with every unseen step. The march continued as though she wasn't even there. It felt like a long, torturous eternity before the tap, tap, tap of the soldiers' boots finally faded into the distance. With every ounce of strength she had, Ijeoma lunged forward, grabbing Nnenna's limp body and dragging her backward, away from whatever horror had just trampled her. The students watched from their windows, eyes wide with fear, too afraid to come outside, because they knew what would happen if they did. When they managed to get inside, Nnenna was hurt. Ijeoma ran around the room, searching for bandages to wrap her bruises. Everyone else stood frozen. That night, Nnenna groaned in pain until morning. Ijeoma finally fell asleep next to her. Early in the morning, the doors burst open. The female lecturers rushed in. Seeing Nnenna's state, they took her to a hospital in the nearby town. Her back was bruised, her legs broken. She had to stay behind. When the lecturers returned, they turned to Ijeoma. "You were well instructed not to go out, Ijeoma. You are old enough to take clear instructions. How are we going to explain this to Nnenna's parents?" Ijeoma stammered. "There was nothing. She just started screaming. Maybe her clothes got stuck. She couldn't move." "You are ignorant, Ijeoma," one of the lecturers snapped. "If they were soldiers, they would have hurt me too. I would have seen them," Ijeoma added. "You probably weren't standing in their way," her lecturer said, leaving the room. The students gathered, their anger sharp. "You got your friend hurt," they taunted. "You ruined this trip." Ijeoma sobbed as their words cut through her. "Look, today's visit to the breathing rock is cancelled because of you. Why are you so stubborn, Ijeoma?" Another one of her friends shouted, frustration clear in their voice. Nnenna still lay in the hospital and couldn't attend any of the visits. On the last day, the trip was to visit the Black Lake, a sacred body of lake belonging to a certain family, or people of the lake. It was said they were guarded by transforming humans, and their moods affected the lake's color and controlled the rainy season. The students were warned, do not touch the water, do not swim in. As they prepared to leave, Ijeoma lagged behind, resisting, looking back. The lecturer noticed and stayed behind her. Suddenly, Ijeoma shoved past him and ran back to the lake. "Ijeoma, come back!" he shouted. Everyone turned. Gasps filled the air. Students ran back. The lecturers were frozen in fear. Ijeoma stood at the edge, one foot raised. The lecturer reached for her, pleading, "Please, Ijeoma, don't." Ignoring him, she dipped her foot in the water. A chilling silence followed. "See, nothing happened." She laughed and walked in. Then her laughter was cut short. The students were screaming, pointing behind her. "Ijeoma, no!" Chuka shouted, his voice shaking. Ijeoma was now inside the lake, but she was still looking at her classmates and teachers. She was smiling and waving like she was showing off. "Look at me," her smile seemed to say. But the students and lecturers were not smiling. Their faces looked scared, like they were watching a scary movie. Some of them screamed, "Ijeoma, come out now." Others pointed behind her, their hands shaking. "Behind you, look behind you," they shouted. Ijeoma stopped. Her smile got smaller. She turned her head slowly to see what they were talking about. The water behind her was moving. The students were now screaming louder. Their voices were full of fear. But Ijeoma didn't hear them. It was like their voices were very far away. All she could see was a very handsome man, and to the rest of them, it was an old woman. "Come, Ijeoma, come," the old woman whispered. The woman's voice was like wind blowing through dry leaves. Her back was bent and her wrapper dragged in the water, wet from the lake. Behind Ijeoma, the students tried to reach her. Chuka, her classmate, threw a big stick at the water. "Wake up, Ijeoma, please wake up." The stick flew and landed with a splash, but Ijeoma didn't even blink. "Why is she smiling like that?" they asked each other, shaking. "She looks like she's not Ijeoma anymore. Is this the lake spirit they told us about?" Another asked, standing far away from the lake, ready to run. "Don't say that," one of Ijeoma's close friends said. "It's just a story. A lake is not magic, it's just old." But deep down, everyone was scared. The lecturer, Mr. Okoro, was calling on his phone. "Hello, hello, we need help. One of our students is, hello, hello." The phone made no sound, not even a beep. The air was too quiet now. The birds had stopped singing. The water had stopped moving. Then suddenly, whoosh, a strong wind pushed everyone back. Even the lecturers fell down. The water near the rocks started to rise. "She is following into the rock," someone screamed, and it was true. Ijeoma had walked right into the rocky side, but the rocks had moved apart like a door. She stepped inside behind the old woman, and then, slam, the rocks closed like nothing happened. Gone. "Ijeoma," Chuka cried, running around the lake. He knelt down and put his face in his hands. "We told her not to go into the lake," whispered her friend, her voice small like a baby's. The other students just stood there frozen, some shaking, some crying, and some looked away. Mr. Okoro looked at the water, his face pale. This is not normal," he said. "We need to find divers now," Mr. Okoro shouted. Everything became messy. Some students were crying, some didn't want to leave. "We'll wait for Ijeoma. She will come out soon," they said. But one of the other lecturers clapped his hands loud and said, "Everybody go back to the bus now. Move." Slowly the students walked away. Some looked back at the lake. Some still called her name. "Ijeoma, please come out." Only Mr. Okoro and one other teacher stayed behind. Mr. Okoro was holding his phone. He hit it again and again. "Come on, work. Please work," he said. But the phone stayed silent. There was no network. The lake was very quiet now. Too quiet. The water was calm. The wind was soft. The trees did not move. It looked like nothing bad had happened. But Mr. Okoro's heart was still loud. Then, running feet. The village guide came back with a group of old men behind him. The village chief was there too, wearing red beads and holding a staff. Mr. Okoro looked angry. What we need is divers, not elders, he said. One elder's eyes grew big. He pointed at Mr. Okoro. Who do you think you are, shouting at our chief like that? He said. You talk about divers. In this village, divers come after many days. You fill forms, you wait. He shook his head. But in this lake, no one goes in, not even your divers. We're wasting time, Mr. Okoro shouted back. Every second we stand here talking, Ijeoma could be in danger. We'll have to try something. The guide stepped forward, his face serious. Mr. Okoro, listen well, he said slowly. The girl is not coming back. Mr. Okoro looks like someone slapped him. She went into the caves around the lake, the guide said. Those caves are not for people. They are for spirits. Why are you city people always so blind? He leaned in and whispered to the elder beside the chief. Then the elder turned to the lecturers and said loudly, You have done your schoolwork for today. The project is finished. You can go now. He looked hard at Mr. Okoro. You don't respect our rules. You don't respect our land. You should leave. The lecturers looked at each other. But, Ijeoma, one of them said. They all turned to the lake. It was still so calm, so still, so peaceful. But it felt like something was watching. It felt wrong to walk away. It felt like leaving Ijeoma behind forever. Mr. Okoro's hands were shaking. Back at the lodge, the lecturer stood confused. What are we going to tell her parents? Mr. Okoro said softly. I don't even want to go back. This village is bad. No network, no help. It's like we are trapped. The other lecturer folded his arms. Ijeoma is so stubborn, so naive. He said, she already got her friend in trouble, and now this. She walked into that cursed lake. We should have left her at the lodge, another whispered. All this wouldn't have happened. But wherever she is now, I'm sure she's regretting everything. Inside the cave, Ijeoma opened her eyes. She was no longer smiling. The lake had become a dark cave, cold, wet, sad. She looked around. Where is that guy? She asked. But the old woman, or was it a man, had vanished, gone. Nothing but dark rocks and strange echoes. Ijeoma blinked. Her heart was beating fast. No. This is wrong. I want to go back. She ran to the stone wall and hit it hard with both hands. Bam, bam, bam. Open! Let me out! She cried. But the cave said nothing. Only the sound of crying, low and sad, echoed around her. She turned slowly. There were people, men and women, all standing in the shadows, all looking at her. They looked alive, but not really. Their eyes were sad, their bodies didn't move. They were like zombies. Please help me, Ijeoma begged, but they just stared. One woman had no shoes. One man held a broken notebook. A girl wore a school uniform from long ago. I will help you, Ijeoma said. All of you. We will go out together. They did not answer. She ran to one of them. Come with me. We can do it. The man just looked down. Ijeoma started walking, fast. Her bare feet splashed in little pools of water. She turned left, then right, then left again. She saw a small light. She ran toward it, but when she reached it, it was just a wall. No, it was a path. I saw it, she yelled. She tried another way, and another, and another. But every time she ran forward, the cave changed. Walls moved, doors vanished. The floor turned to mud, then back to stone. She was in a maze that didn't want her to leave. No, she cried, falling to her knees. Her hands were scratched, her dress was torn. Her eyes were full of tears. I'm sorry, she whispered. I'm so sorry I didn't listen. The people in the cave just stared. You all gave up, but I won't, she said, standing up again. She tried again, and again, and again. Her feet were tired. Her voice was gone. The cave was playing with her. Once she saw the sky, but it was just a map on a wall. Another time she heard Chuka's voice, but it was only an echo. She fell down again. She hugged her knees and cried, I just want to go home. No one answered. The cave was quiet. Even the cries had stopped. Finally, Ijeoma fell asleep. She was sitting on the cold floor of the cave, leaning against a rock. Her eyes were tired. Her face was full of tears. Her legs hurt. Her heart felt small. She dreamed of home. Warm bed, hot food, her mother's voice calling her for dinner, her little sister Ada laughing and stealing her favorite salad. But when she woke up, it was still the cave. Dark, cold, wet, smelly. Ijeoma stood up slowly. I will try again today, she whispered to herself. I will find a way out. But then, grow. Her stomach made a loud sound. She was hungry, so hungry. She held her belly. Oh no, I am so hungry. Suddenly, she heard footsteps. She turned and gasped. The handsome man she followed into the lake was back. But now, he looked like an old woman. Her back was bent. Her hair was white and long like rope. Her fingers were thin and creepy. And in her hands, she was carrying a sack of food. But not normal food. It was raw. Raw fish. Half-dead frogs. Pieces of crocodile. The people in the cave, those quiet, tired ones, suddenly jumped up and ran toward the old woman. They were pushing, kicking, and fighting like wild animals. Food, someone shouted. It was like a stampede. Ijeoma stood still, frozen, her eyes wide. One small girl in a torn school uniform grabbed a frog. It kicked in her hand, still alive. She bit into it. Ijeoma stepped back, horrified. The girl saw her and came closer. She broke the frog in two, holding one piece out to Ijeoma. Here, you take half, the girl said. Ew, Ijeoma screamed. What are you doing? That's disgusting. I'll never eat that. The girl stepped away, quietly chewing. Another woman with grey skin smiled at Ijeoma. She had no teeth. Child, she said in a low, dry voice, soon you will be the one running after frogs and crabs. And soon you will love it. Ijeoma sat down and cried. Oh God, she whispered. What have I done? What will my parents go through thinking I'm gone? Will anyone come for me? Will they try to enter the lake? Or will they be too scared? She looked around. Maybe this is a prank, she said to herself. Yes, that's it. They are trying to scare me. She stood up quickly and ran to the cave wall again. She banged it with her fists. Sir Okoro, Chuka, enough of this joke. Please let me out. It stinks here. I need to go and take a warm bath. But no one answered. From that day, and a few more days, Ijeoma stopped trying to escape, thinking she was being pranked. After what seemed to be a week, Ijeoma has been carving down markings each day to mark the days she has been in the cave. She cried. She sat in a dark corner of the cave, alone, sad, weak. She begged for forgiveness. Please, I'm sorry. I didn't know. She whispered into the rocks, but no one came. Everyone else in the cave had stopped crying. They had been there too long. They didn't hope anymore. They just waited for their time. Because deep down, they knew this was a jail for those who broke the rules. And then the old woman came again. She dropped her bag of wet raw meat and frogs on the floor. People ran again. But Ijeoma, she crawled to the old woman's feet. Please forgive me, Ijeoma whispered with a faint voice. I didn't know the water was sacred. I didn't mean to enter. Please, I want to go home. The old woman looked down and laughed. "Oh, now you are sorry," she said. Her voice was like thunder in a bottle. "How dare you touch our waters with your dirty feet? You people have no respect." She started walking in circles around Ijeoma. "You think this is punishment?" "No, no, no," she hissed. "I am only feeding you. So when the time comes, you will be a fresh, healthy sacrifice." Ijeoma gasped. "Sacrifice? What sacrifice?" "No, you are going to kill us." The old woman laughed again. Scary, long, echoing. Then she vanished into the shadows. Ijeoma stood up quickly and screamed at others. "We have to do something before she sacrifices us. Please." But no one moved. They just stared, their eyes empty, their hearts too tired. Only Ijeoma screamed. Only Ijeoma still hoped. But even hope was starting to fade. Ijeoma was very hungry now. She had not eaten for many days. Her legs felt like paper. Her hands shook. Her belly made loud sounds like a growling dog. "I can't take this anymore," she whispered, lying near the dark wall. "If I don't eat, I will die." So when the old woman came again with her sack of smelly food, Ijeoma crawled closer. She lay near the place where the woman always came in, so she could be first. The food dropped, splash. The others ran, pushing, fighting. Ijeoma grabbed a slimy fish with her weak hands. It looked scary. Its eyes were still open. She closed her eyes, held her breath. Chomp! The taste was terrible. But slowly, her body felt a little stronger. A tiny bit of hope came back. She sat alone in the dark and whispered, "I don't think we're staying here forever. One day, we will pay for our mistakes, and that day will be bad." She thought about that day. When will it come? The thought terrified her, but she started counting. 1 day, 2 days, 1 week, now 2 weeks. The old woman only brought food every 2 days. Ijeoma watched her every time. One day, after getting her fish, she didn't stay. She hid in the shadows. She followed the old woman. The woman walked slowly, her back bent. She carried her empty sack of frogs and fish. Before she entered the strange door, she looked to the side. Ijeoma quickly hid behind a rock. Phew. She carried a small stone and scratched a mark on the wall near the passage. Then she went back. The next time she followed again. The door was in a different place, but there was a pattern. Ijeoma watched. She remembered the turns, the rocks, the creaks in the wall, and then she knew what to do. She knew how to escape. That day, after the food came and most were resting, Ijeoma stood up, her eyes bright. "Everyone," she said softly, "remember when I told you I would save us? That time is now. I know how to get out." Some looked up, some smiled, but many just kept sitting. Some laughed a little. "I won't leave without you," she said again. "If you want to come, follow me." Then she turned and walked fast. Some stood up and followed. They tiptoed behind her, past sharp corners and big rocks. Quietly, Ijeoma whispered. They reached the strange door. Ijeoma took a deep breath and did what the old woman always did. She made a small sign with her hand. Creak! The door opened. Loud, too loud. "Run!" someone shouted. Thump, thump, thump. Footsteps, fast, heavy, angry. The old woman was coming. "Go, go, jump into the water," Ijeoma screamed. They all ran into the dark water, one by one. Some jumped, some slipped, some screamed. The water splashed loud. Some were fast, some too slow. Ijeoma didn't look back. She swam hard. The water was cold. It pulled at her legs, but she kicked and kicked. She saw the edge. She saw the light. She was almost out of the lake. Don't look back, she shouted. She will trick you. She will change her appearance. Don't look. Behind her, more screams. The water shook. Some cried, but Ijeoma reached the land. She stood up, soaked and shaking. She turned around and cheered. Come on, you can do it. You are almost there, she shouted. One by one, some made it out, others did not. Some looked back, and they were never seen again. Some got grabbed by the old woman. Only a few reached the shore. Ijeoma looked at them. Their eyes were full of tears, but they were safe. They all ran out of the forest, past the trees, past the rocks, far from the lake. Ijeoma looked back once. That place was still quiet, but she knew it was full of pain. As they reached the village road, the others thanked her. Thank you. You saved us. You are brave. And one by one, they walked away. Each one went the way they came. Each one faded into the place where they were before the lake took them. Only Ijeoma was left. She turned and walked straight to the lodge. Her heart heavy, her mind full, her eyes looking for someone. Ijeoma was looking for the village guide. She was tired. Her feet were sore. Her hair was messy. Her voice shaky. I was in the lake, she panted. I went inside the lake, and now I am out. The new village guide looked confused. Some lodge cleaners came. The garden boys came too. They all gathered around her. She came out of the lake. Someone whispered. No one comes out of the lake. Another said. She must be mad. Ijeoma wanted her bag, her clothes, but they were gone. She didn't care too much. Maybe Nina took them with her. Maybe the lecturers kept them for her. She asked for money. Please, I just need to take a bus to the city. I want to go home. My father is rich. I will repay you for your kindness. The workers looked at each other. She looked so thin. Her skin was pale. She smelled bad. Her dress was torn. She's just a poor mad woman, one said. Still, they felt sorry. They gathered what they could and gave her. The bus came. They talked to the driver for her. The people on the bus didn't want her there. They covered their noses, moved away. Some gave her bread, a small blanket, and a juice box. Thank you, Ijeoma whispered. She slept on the seat like a baby. The next morning, the bus reached the city. Ijeoma's eyes opened wide. Wow! The buildings were tall like the sky. The roads were shiny. The cars were fast and quiet and beautiful. She stepped off the bus. Everything looked new, too new. She walked slowly, holding her blanket. She looked around. Where am I? She whispered. This can't be my city. She asked a man, Excuse me, sir. Do you know number 041 Broom Street? The man pointed. She walked and walked. Cars honked at her when she stepped onto the road without looking. Watch where you're going, someone yelled. I'm sorry, she said confused. Am I really going home? Am I still me? She finally reached it. 041 Broom Street. Ijeoma walked through the gate. She was shaking, holding her blanket close. Her eyes looked around the mansion. It was too shiny, too big. She whispered to herself, This was never here. Where is the house I remember? She stepped forward, but a gateman in uniform stopped her. Madam, he said confused. You cannot go inside. Who are you? She looked at him, tired and lost. My name is Ijeoma. I live here. This is my home. Who are you? The man stared hard at her, then ran into the house shouting, Someone come out. Please come out. Ijeoma, she says she's Ijeoma. Ijeoma waited. Her feet hurt. Her heart beat too fast. The door opened. The woman stepped out. She had grey hair and a soft wrinkled face, but her eyes were sharp and full of shock. She looked at Ijeoma like she had just seen a ghost. Ijeoma, she said slowly. Ijeoma's lips trembled. Yes, it's me. The woman shook her head. eyes wide with tears. I am Ada, your little sister. She held her chest. Oh my God. Ijeoma blinked fast. But you are old. Ada nodded slowly. Ijeoma, you disappeared more than 40 years ago. Ijeoma gasped. Her knees felt weak. No, that can't be. I was only gone for a few weeks. Ada stepped closer. Her voice broke. You were 20 when you left. I was just 16. You never came back. She wiped her tears. Mom cried every day. Every day. Ijeoma's heart squeezed tight. Mom went to the police. She shouted at your university. She searched in villages, every lake, every road. Her lips shook. She stopped eating. She stopped laughing. She stopped living. Ijeoma fell to her knees. No, please don't say that. Ada nodded. One morning, she didn't get out of bed. She wiped her face, but the tears wouldn't stop. I found her just lying there. Her eyes open, but she was gone. Ijeoma covered her face with her hands. No, not Mama. She died of heartbreak. Ada whispered. Everything around Ijeoma felt like it was falling. She couldn't breathe. My mother died because of me. Ada hugged her, crying too. And Daddy, he changed. He became quiet, sad. Then, one day, he remarried. He tried to move on, but he never smiled the same again. She pointed behind her. That's John, your half-brother. He inherited this house. Ijeoma looked at the house. Big, beautiful, new, but cold, strange, not hers. You all moved on, she whispered. You all forgot me. Ada shook her head. No, we never forgot, but we thought you were dead. Ijeoma sat still. Her hands were dirty, her hair full of knots. She looked nothing like the girl she used to be. I was alive, she whispered, trapped in that lake, that cave. She looked up, eyes full of pain. And now I come back and everything I knew is gone. Ada held her again. I don't understand, Ijeoma. You haven't changed. You are still young. How? I think time moves differently in the lake. Slower. I don't know. Ijeoma whispered. My life is gone. My time is gone. My family is broken. She hugged her knees. Tears fell like rain. I just wanted to go on a school trip. She looked at Ada. Now I don't even know who I am anymore. Ada pulled her close, her own voice full of pain. You are my sister. You are Ijeoma, and I will never let you go again. But Ijeoma just stared into nothing. The house behind her felt too big. The world too new. The memories too far away. The end.